Yo, gonna go over the trade that I took today. The setup that I faded that I probably shouldn't have, and why the trade that I took probably lost. I actually, I don't know. Well, we're gonna go over everything though. So going into this morning, I was overall bearish, and the reason for that being was just because on the higher time frame, you can see we were on a really high time frame sell model. You can just tell based off looking at where's the curve. Just look at this. And then just, yeah, on the downside, like very obvious sell model. And we have this new week opening gap all the way down here that I want to see price run to, which it looks like we probably will end up running to eventually. But going into this morning, all that had been shown so far was this. And so going into this, I'm thinking, okay, we have this 1 hour intermediate high right here. On the lower time frame, you can see we just had that high. So ideally what I want to see is price come up to this and then short, and then hopefully eventually we'll continue down to there, which we ended up getting that sweep, as you can see. I don't know if, okay, so this is on, what is this at, 920? So we ended up getting that sweep at market open and then getting that short, but there was absolutely no entry here. And then we came down to tap this 5 minute, and then there's also an SMT, I believe that formed. Yeah, so there was a tiny SMT with this 5 minute intermediate low. So this was just like, it fades the bias, but it's such, oh wait, let me get to it. We tap this, we come back up, and we invert very quickly, just one candle right here. And I'm looking at this setup like, damn, if I was bullish, I would 1 million out of 1 million times smack this shit. But the fact that we weren't made me, or the fact that I wasn't bullish personally was like, I gotta fade this. Like, but this is just such an obvious setup. And now looking at it in hindsight, yes, we did sweep this high and we left this 930 high. But the SMT inside of this 15 minute, which is also a 30 minute, which is now just getting tapped. At least I think it was. Oh no, it was just a 15 minute. Wait, was it? Yeah, so it was just 15 minute. But getting swept, creating that SMT, very obvious displacement back higher. It's just like, it's an obvious setup. And I can't be fading obvious setups like this that have this criteria. I believe we also had a key level on the higher time frame. Yeah, we're rejecting this 4 hour, and then we also have this 4 hour gap right here, and then we're also inside this daily. So another thing is we're at all-time highs and we're inside this daily gap. So we're most likely going to be rejecting it and continuing higher because we just want to continue to be bullish as we're at all-time highs. So that was just an obvious, like, okay, this is another reason to be bullish in this scenario. And so, yeah, this was just a banger trade. Could have taken this for, I think, like just 1-to-1 if you wanted. I think you could have taken it like 1-to-2, whatever. But since I was bearish, what I was then looking for after seeing that trade was for price to come up, potentially tap this 4 hour that we now had created above, all the way up here, but we didn't. But I was looking at the 1 hour, this swing high to this swing low. The fact that we were respecting this gap here, and then the fact that we were also respecting the 1 hour, at the high of this range, we created a tiny little SMT right here. And then we got a 5 minute inversion lower with this candle right here. And then I was just targeting this low right here, of it obviously still being bearish, which, as you can see, I got stopped out just barely right here. And then it eventually ran to my TP, which is super unfortunate. But, you know, it happens. It is what it is. Just got to note it and take account for it in the future. But I don't think that this trade that I took, this 5 minute, was the best trade of today. It was 100% this 1 minute inversion, just because of the volatility, the volume, it's all there. The bias doesn't 100% align, but all the confluences backing this is making it say like, okay, this could very, very clearly be a really good buy. And you can also see, you can argue we were starting a buy model here with yet again another curve like that, and that we were just going to continue higher off of that. So really unfortunate, but really liked that trade, and unfortunate that I missed it and ended up taking this stupid loss, which actually I don't think it's a stupid loss. I just think unfortunate stop loss placement, and I don't know, like in the future, if I had my stop loss right there, like would have worked. But it's probably best to just have it at that high anyway. But yeah, that's going to be it. Those were the only 2 trades that I saw today that looked reasonable. Actually, I take that back. There was a 30-second right here. Come on, load. There's a 30-second right here that I was heavily debating on taking. But I was thinking, like, if this was a loser, this would be a loss that I would be mad about. This loss, I'm not entirely mad about because I was just so bearish on the day. But this loss I would have been mad about just because it's so low time frame. And there's not very much backing this other than it just being like a mech model to this unfilled 5-minute. So I got off, I think, like around right here. And then, yeah, that was about it. Just coming back now to see that it eventually ran to TP, and just wanted to cover that I took this shitty loss, which fucking sucks. That's going to be it for today. Sorry I'm not wearing a shirt. But, yeah, that's my thought process on the day. Things to take account for, things to take note of. And we won't hit it hard tomorrow. Just, yeah. See y'all later.